So now we're going to J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
J.J. McCarthy, his stock has been rising according to a lot of people, in our world. A lot of GMs like him. A lot of coaches like him. Being coached by a former NFL quarterback and head coach. We know that he is well-versed in just what it takes to be a high-level quarterback and being the quarterback for Michigan, leading them to the college football playoff 2 years in a row, ultimately winning the national championship this past year. And, it was a really good workout. I thought it was a really solid start, as far as us seeing him and what he is capable of. Now, this is the reverse of Caleb Williams. We know Caleb Williams does all the special stuff. J.J. McCarthy, we know that he's potentially capable of it, but because of Michigan's offense, we didn't see it a ton. And this is why you saw his workout being a little bit more aggressively scripted to display his athleticism and his versatility as a thrower and as a playmaker.
Right. And yeah, he wanted to show off. That's what, not show off, but show that he can do everything. Right. And I would say this, watching that workout about halfway through it or whenever, I just went, home run. He's hitting a home run. Yeah. I thought he threw the ball really well. He threw it with power, which we knew he had on the run when he was moving outside, right and left. Yeah. I thought he's very good. He showed that in his career at Michigan that you do it well on the run. And the biggest thing is, when he did just drop back and he was in the pocket, his foot movement. In other words, his feet are on fire.
Right.
And there's always an athletic bounce to it or whatever, a move. And I love that. And it really showed more in that workout. And I saw it a lot, of course, in some of the games. But it looks like he's really that's just going to be part of who he is now. Yeah. That little bounce, those feet. And when those feet are working, now, work the upper body. I thought he really threw a lot of impressive footballs. His confidence, his, just the feel around him, his interview. He's at ease with this whole thing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And what this workout did for me, it just maybe solidified everything that I thought about him, and maybe it's raised it a little. And of course, maybe some of that is just because we're hearing so much talk that he's impressive in meetings, talking to the coaches and all that. And look, it was really good. I thought everything about him tightened up a little bit. Yes. If you know what I mean. Just, I got this language.
I would agree. I think just, for everyone at home, really what we're discussing here is the fact that, at times when you watch JJ on film, he does have like a twitchiness to him, to his throwing motion, to his movement. And at times when you watch him on film, the ball kind of gets away from him, a little bit because of that, right? His arm length gets too extended from his body. So the ball kind of gets away from him on some throws where he tries to rip it as hard as he possibly can.
Well, here's what happens, Matt. I don't mean to interrupt you, but when his arm gets long, he has a tendency to dip under the ball. So look at me. When you dip under, your arm goes down, and where's the ball going to go? It's going to go up.
Right.
And what is there about overthrows in the NFL? When you overthrow it, just start running because you might have to make the tackle.
Yeah, start praying. And then
just drop it. Yeah. But that's what – but I did not see that in the workout.
Right.
I thought his motion and everything was more condensed. And for everybody out there, I know we always have these terms, but more condensed almost always means this: more power, more accuracy.
For sure.
Better spin on the ball, all that stuff. And, man, listen, you know me. I said, why is he coming out? I know I've rehashed this, but he's going to be a fourth-round pick. And I said, well, maybe a third. I don't know. But then as I watched his film, I had a little more appreciation. And the more I've watched, I guess, as time goes on, I understand, and I think he's really growing in this whole process about as a player, as a person, and I have heard nothing bad about him at all.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the more – now, I haven't been doing this media thing for very long, but to me, just from the outside as a fan and a viewer of this too, he seems to be one of the most interesting draft prospects that I feel like we've seen in a long time now, as far as just kind of where it started to where it is now, and ultimately just all the discussions about him and the question marks surrounding him too. It's pretty interesting too, considering the fact that he's as talented as he is, won a national championship, And still we have these question marks for him. And that's rightfully so, because again, for us, you know, compared to a Caleb Williams, again, where Caleb is showing how smooth he is, how relaxed he is, because the film just shows all the other suddenness and the ability that he has.
Right.
JJ just doesn't have enough of those reps on film for us to really say, without a doubt, like Caleb, yeah, no doubt his talent would transition to the NFL without a problem. We know that his physical talent will,
right?
But the overall just dropping back and making the decisions consistently and being really the focal point of an NFL offense is really, again, the biggest question mark, you know. And still, you're right, though. I agree, though. His feet in the workout were extremely good. He really does have a natural way of how to pepper his feet when he's moving.
Pepper's a good word. Yep.
Right. It's like he's like a great shortstop. You know, he kind of can reset them and turn and go and throw immediately. The other thing, too, that I think, you know, for fans at home to notice, both Caleb and JJ were throwing Nike footballs, right, in college. And I'm just telling you right now, as a quarterback coach and a coach that teaches a lot of QBs too, the Nike football might be one of the toughest balls to throw consistently. Right. Ever made. You know, it's like Adidas last place, then it's Nike. You know, Wilson makes the greatest football ever made. Like, let's just face it. All right, they do. They got that art down. Nike football, extremely difficult to throw consistently. And I think for both of these quarterbacks, we saw that they throw the NFL ball. They throw that Duke much better than what they were doing right at their other level in college with the Nike football.
Well, we see it with young kids. Hell, we have freshmen in high school. You do.
Yeah.
And they forget their football, and you give them one of your NFL balls, and they throw it, and they go, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
I mean,
Can I use this year? It's like, no, you
can't. But yeah, I think all guys should throw the NFL football better than they do the college football.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bigger, rounder, and all that, but I think it's easier to handle. And like I said, I've seen it many, many times. But of course, the NFL guys love it. But I see high school and college kids, when they throw it, they love it too. The one thing I want to just say, last thing about JJ, his natural energy and his presence on the field kind of caught me. You know, it was an easiness to it, but there was a real energy. And I could almost see his personality in that workout. Yeah. And it's changed so much. I mean, now he's at ease and, talking kind of funny, and he's, before he was very measured, and I understand he's in college and all that. And but really impressed. That really that probably is one of the big things. One, the consistency of his throwing, but two, just his presence, his energy, and all that stuff. I really felt it. And maybe that's why I understand just another thing that helps me understand why he went from wherever we say to where he is now. And it sounds like if he doesn't go in the top 10, that's going to be an upset for just by listening to TV. And, I really don't talk to enough people to ever get any good information. Don't care. But now, right, as you've gone through this process, right, has he moved up for you to a position where you do value him as a top 10 pick? Yeah, listen, this is always, well, they could have got him with the 7th pick instead of the 4th. Hey, when you're talking about these quarterbacks, I mean, if you like them, you take them. And, you could have waited. Well, if you wait, you lose some of these guys. But, yeah, he's moved up without question. Just in many ways, as I've talked about with you when we just did a big scouting report on him weeks ago, his talent, his mobility, I think that's one thing that maybe is undersold a little bit.
Right.
I think he's a really good athlete, and his running is going to be a big part of what he does in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so these coaches, they're sold on his knowledge of the game, all this other stuff, the physical part, the person, which and I know. Sometimes I don't talk about it openly a lot, but your person, you got a great position on an NFL team. You're the quarterback. You can influence a lot of people in a lot of ways. Absolutely. Offense, defense, even the coaches. Yeah. So I think that's always a big part of being a successful NFL quarterback.
No, it absolutely is. You're right. And even I tell my students all the time too, when you're a quarterback, you are just like a mini CEO, right, of the team in a lot of ways. You are an extension of, as they say, that quote unquote, the coach and all that stuff on the field. And, the great quarterbacks that I was around, right? you know, obviously yourself and just all the stories that you would tell me from Bill Parcells and even guys like Matt Ryan, you know, and even the others too that I would see in the offseason, guys like that of just going through that. They all kind of have that same type of mentality and, you know, action to them, right? It's like they say it, but also they act upon it and they live it, you know? And I think that's what's really special too about both of these guys, right? Caleb Williams and JJ both seem to have that aspect of them very naturally. You know, it's not forced. It's not something that, you know, it feels like they're playing to the crowd or, you know, to the fans or people in the media trying to be people pleasers. They're super authentic. They know exactly who the hell they are as players, as people. And I think that's a quality that all young quarterbacks listening to this and going through this process themselves, you have to develop that skill. You know, I can't tell you how many times at workouts I've just been like, hey, man, let's go. You know, let's develop a little attitude, right? There's got to be something else to you other than just throwing the ball, right?
Hey,
and,
listen, you're right. Through time, I've seen many quarterbacks that really are absolutely below average throwers and passers in the NFL, but they have success. Yeah, they're on good teams or you need help, but it's everything else about them. Their personality, their toughness, their leadership, you know, those things are real. And we're seeing that with some of these guys. The more I watch them and watch their interviews on TV and stuff like that. So not that I'm making that, you know, too big of a deal, but I want to see it.
Those are things too that unfortunately for all of us in this evaluation process, there is no metric for that. No, you know, that is a true guessing game in a lot of ways. You know, I'm sure some of these coaches, they got, you know, psychological tests and all that stuff that they do or whatever, but you know, you really just don't understand and know the motivation and the will that that individual has until, you know, unfortunately you've drafted them and they're in that room. So, but this is a good breakdown, Big Phil.
Yep, good stuff.
Excited for those two young quarterbacks. A lot of good things. They worked hard. It showed too in their pro days. And excited for their careers and kind of what takes them. We kind of know what Caleb Williams is going. We'll see what happens with JJ McCarthy. That's all we got from Sims Complete and the Believe Network here. Follow us at Sims Complete on Instagram, on Twitter. Follow Phil Sims at Phil Sims on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll be back for more QB breakdowns as we go through this draft process. See you, everybody.
See ya.